Yo, what's up everybody? It's me, WD Michael, and in today's YouTube video, we're gonna be checking out the returning 7-star Tera Raid battle event happening in the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video games featuring HISUIan Samurott. Now, this is the second and final weekend for this raid event, so if you do not beat and capture this Pokemon on this weekend, you will lose out on your chance of catching this mighty foe. So I've gathered 4 raid builds that will easily help you in defeating this before it ends up disappearing. So let's hop in this video, check out these raid builds, and get you ready for that HISUIan Samurott. All right, so let's kick this off with the actual raid boss that we're going to be battling in this 7-star Tera Raid event, and that's going to be the HISUIan Samurott, or the Formidable Pokemon. Now, HISUIan Samurott is going to be doing a ton of damage. It is going to get a Water Tera, so it's going to match with its own stab type, which means that moves like Aqua Cutter are going to be doing a ton of damage. And that is not it. They are going to continue boosting that damage because they have the ability called Sharpness, which is going to boost all of their cutting moves, which is basically all they have. Aqua Cutter, Ceaseless Edge, Sacred Sword, X Scissor, they're all going to get boosted. So they're all going to do even more damage, on top of the fact this Pokemon is an adamant nature and will also be doing Swords Dance on turn 1. So it is going to be doing a ton of damage, and if we don't mitigate some of this damage pretty much right off the bat, you're going to get one shot and you're pretty much going to get your raid wiped. So this is one of those raids where we really have to take the biggest advantage we can out of those first 2 turns, or it's just going to spiral and snowball down from there, and we're probably going to lose this raid. So with that being said, there are 2 ways where we can really focus on mitigating some of this damage. One is its ability. There are ways of getting rid of Samurott's Sharpness ability, which will definitely help mitigate a lot of that damage, and that'll pop up in a bunch of these raid builds. The other one is mitigating its actual boost, so things like Reflect, Haze, Chilling Water, all those kind of things are going to help out in mitigating that damage as well, because we're going to need it, or else it will absolutely start one-shotting Pokemon and it'll end up killing your raid within like 2 minutes. So definitely a challenging Pokemon, but one that with a few correct counters can be very easily defeated, and even soloable. To be honest, this is one of the few ones where I felt like the solo builds were super easy, and I ended up doing it by myself pretty quick too. So this one's gonna be running from December 1st to December 3rd. This is our final weekend, so if you don't defeat it this weekend, you will lose out on your opportunity of snagging this mighty foe. It is shiny locked and you can only catch 1, so make sure that you snag it in whatever Pokeball you want to, because remember, it is in a Tera Raid, so you don't have any risk of it falling out of that Pokeball. So now with this one in particular, like I said, it's got the Sharpness ability, it's got Adamant Nature, so we dump it out a ton of damage. It has also got the Water and Dark typing, so moves like Aqua Cutter and Ceaseless Edge are gonna be doing a lot of damage, so we gotta make sure we watch out for that. Sacred Sword is also another one where it just doesn't really care about your boost, it's just still gonna rock you, so watch out for that. X Scissor is definitely something we gotta worry about with all of our grass type Pokemon, just because it is super effective. We've got Bulldoze to slower speed, Focus Energy for them crits, and then also Swords Dance. Like I said, it will pop that pretty much on turn 1, so we gotta worry about getting that Swords Dance damage down pretty quickly. So we have a couple of Pokemon that I think are going to do really well, or at least have done really well in this raid. First one is going to be Miraidon. Obviously, it's our legendary Pokemon. It drops Electric Train, and it does a ton of damage. Gogoat is kind of a little bulky little bro, where he can deal a little bit of damage and sustain, while also helping with supporting the raid if you need it as well. Meowscarada is actually really cool, and because it has the protein ability, it's able to actually swap its typing to something more favorable, so that's pretty cool. And then Shaymin as a grass flying ends up being really easy to use, because you don't have to worry about the X Scissor damage from a grass type Pokemon, while also getting some really awesome super effective damage. So all these Pokemon are really great, and we'll hop into the first raid build, which will be Miraidon. And here we are with our first raid build. This one is going to be Miraidon. It's our box legendary from Pokemon Violet and is absolute champion at doing damage. It's got that Electric Tera, so it's got that super effective damage into that water type Pokemon. It's also going to resist some of those water type attacks. So overall, Miraidon is going to be an absolute champion, and with its stats, it's going to do a ton of damage. So Electric Tera, we've also got the Parabolic Charge for a move. We've got Electro Drift for some big damage, Reflect to help out with your team mitigating some of that damage you're taking, and Calm Mind to boost some of your damage. Pair that with the Hadron engine ability, where you're going to get the Electric Train. You're just going to be doing a lot of damage and really making sure that you can pump out as much as quickly as possible, because you really got to break through that shield really early and Miraidon's gonna be the one to help you out with that. You got the Metronome item, so anytime you use a move in concession, it's gonna do more and more damage, so it's always great to have. We're gonna be rocking Modest Nature, and like I said, with Reflect, you definitely want to be popping that pretty much on turn 1, because if you're waiting, then you're just gonna be taking a bunch of damage and have the potential to get one shot in those couple early turns. So make sure you're setting up a little bit of defense early on, or even Calm Minding early on, so that you can get that shield broken down without having to deal with it being up too long, because that shield can be a little bit of a problem if you let it stay for too long. But yeah, Miraidon, absolutely fantastic Pokemon, has done really well in these raids, and is definitely going to be your damage dealing Pokemon. The next raid build we're going to hop into is going to be Gogoat, which will be a little bit more of a supportive build, so let's hop into it now. All right, so here's the Gogoat build. Now, Gogoat is going to be a little bit more challenging. From what I've heard from some of the people in the community, Gogoat is going to get knocked out pretty easily, so you just really got to pay attention to that. If you're trying to solo this, Gogoat probably isn't the best option, but if you've got a raid group with a bunch of grass-type Pokemon, Gogoat can be pretty good, so keep that in mind. Definitely probably a better group Pokemon than a solo Pokemon. But we're gonna be running on this one is gonna be grass pelt, so if you're in grassy terrain, you get a defensive boost, which is always nice to have. The big root, so you get some more HP recovery from your Giga Drain. Bold Nature to get some of that defense, because you really want to make sure you have as much defense as possible, because your grass pelt's going to just multiply your defense. So the more defense you have, the higher the multiplication goes up on your grass pelt, so it just all ends up helping you out. You definitely want to have Worry Seed. Worry Seed will definitely help you out in getting rid of that ability, at least having somebody in your raid group with Worry Seed, because if you don't, you're kind of throwing. You really got to get rid of that sharpness ability. Giga Drain Growth, so it's another one of those things where, like, if you have Gogoat or if you have other Pokemon that can help out, having a Sunny Day could help out with growth, because it'll just boost your boost that you get from it from 1 to 2. So that's something else you can think about, but I really think that Grassy Terrain, Worry Seed, Giga Drain are all just too crucial, where I wouldn't want to put like a Sunny Day on this one, because I need those other ones so bad. But if you have another support Pokemon that can have Sunny Day, it could definitely help out. But yeah, Gogoat, awesome Pokemon. Like I said, a little bit on the weaker side, might get one shot, so you got to pay attention, and definitely bring this in a raid group, not in a solo build. Let's hop into the next raid build, which is definitely a really easy solo build. Let's hop into Shaymin. All right, so here we are with the flying Shaymin Pokemon. Now, Shaymin is going to be a pretty awesome build. It's actually one of the ones that I used when I defeated Samurott solo. It ended up being pretty easy, and I think it's because of a combination of things. It's got the right typing, so grass and flying means that it's not really taking a lot of damage from the moves that Samurott's putting out, as well as the fact that it gets a really cool move called Seed Flare, which has a 40% chance to drop the Samurott's special defense by 2 stages. So that's huge. I mean, that's a lot of extra damage, and it can definitely really help push you through that initial barrier that it pops up in the beginning to get it down. It made it really easy. So yeah, Shaymin, awesome Pokemon. Serene Grace for those crits, Modest Nature for the damage. We're gonna be running a 252 defense, 4 HP, and 252 special attacks, so we can make sure we're living a lot of stuff, but also putting out a lot of damage. Seed Flare, fantastic move. Worry Seed to make sure you're getting rid of that ability. Like I said, if you're going to be soloing this, you really got to make sure you get rid of that ability. It's like the ability is more of an issue than just like putting up Reflex. If you can get rid of the ability, it's like the #1 priority. Giga Drain to make sure you got some HP recovery, because you're gonna need it. The Shaymin will get knocked down to half HP, a quarter, it's gonna get hit pretty hard. So having Giga Drain will definitely help out. And then Energy Ball, if you need to just kind of pump out a quick damage move, Energy Ball can work out as well. But yeah, Shaymin, fantastic Pokemon. I think it will definitely be one of the better Pokemon for solo, along with like Miraidon. But if you match this with like a Gogoat or something like that, you're just gonna absolutely knock this raid out of the park. So yeah, Shaymin, fantastic raid build. Let's hop into the final raid build for this one. Is going to be Meowscarada. All right, so here we are with our 4th and final raid build for this raid, and this one is going to be a little bit different than the other ones, and that's specifically because of the ability that Meowscarada gets. Now, Proteon is a pretty cool ability that basically swaps the Pokemon's typing depending on the move that it uses. So we match that with a move like Chilling Water, which is actually really helpful in these Tera raid events, because it drops the attack of the Pokemon down by 1, and because it's a damaging move, it doesn't end up getting negated by the shield. So if you use something like Screech, because it doesn't do any damage, if their Tera raid like buff is up, or the barrier is up, it won't go through and it won't do that drop of the stats. but because chilling water does do damage, it will always go through and do that damage and also drop the attack stat. So it's really, really awesome to have in these. And then also on top of the fact that it matches with the raid boss's actual typing with water, means that you go from being a grass type, which is great, to a water typing, which is actually even better because we lose that weakness to X Scissor, which is going to be an issue with Meowscarada. So fantastic. Like, that definitely helps out the Meowscarada a ton, and I would highly suggest using chilling water for like 3 times right off the bat to drop the attack stat of the Samurott, and to also swap your typing to water immediately, because you definitely don't want to stay as a grass type in this raid build. If you don't want to, or if you don't want to stay as a grass typing as long as you can't, like as long as you don't want to. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you don't want to be a grass typing. So the other moves that you want to have on this one, Worry Seed again. If you already have somebody with Worry Seed, you can always go with something different, but in pretty much all these builds, if I have the option of putting Worry Seed on it, I did, because it is that crucial. Giga Drain is a fantastic move. We're going to be going to special attack build for this Meowscarada, so Giga Drain will do more damage, because honestly, with how much damage the Samurott does, any HP recovery that you can get is going to be great, because anytime you die, obviously we all know the timer goes down, so we don't want to be doing that. Nasty Plot will be nice because it'll boost our special attack by 2, and that way our Giga Drains and stuff like that will be doing a nice chunk of damage, so definitely will help out with that one. We're gonna be rocking the Metronome again, because we're probably just gonna be using Giga Drain. You do chilling water a couple times, you get your Tera up, you Tera, and then you Nasty Plot, and then you're just gonna be Giga Draining the rest of the time. So that's the reason why we ran the Metronome. And again, with this one, 252 defense, you really just want to make sure you're not taking a lot of damage from the Samurott. It's crucial. If you are, then you're just gonna get knocked out and you're gonna lose the raid. So yeah, absolutely fantastic. These are all it was really cool with all these raid builds, because they were all just a little bit different than the last one. Like, they weren't like with some of the other raids, like you just have like 2 or 3 Pokemon that do the same thing just a little bit differently. These ones are all so different. It's really cool. But yeah, definitely a challenging raid. This was definitely no joke when it first came out, and that weekend I struggled for a little bit until I found a raid build that worked for me, and that was a Shaymin. So yeah, let me know down in the comments which one of these raid builds you ended up picking up for this and how well it worked for you. Yo, thank you all so much for coming out to this YouTube video and checking out these 4 featured raid builds that I have set up for you for this HISUIan Samurott 7-star Tera raid event. It's definitely a little bit of a challenging one, but once we figure out the counters that we need to have for it, it ends up being pretty easy, and you should be able to get this one fairly easily with these raid builds. But if you are struggling with this raid and you want a little bit of help, I will be live tonight on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/WDMichael and throughout the weekend. So if you need any help with this, make sure you hop on over my Twitch channel, drop me a follow, and then just come and ask me for some help. I would be absolutely more than happy to hop into a raid with you and get you this Samurott defeated so you can add it to your team before it is gone. And again, let me know down in the comments if there's any of these particular raid builds that you enjoyed playing with, or if there's potentially another raid build that you use to defeat this that you liked more than these ones. I would absolutely love to hear it. I've always loved seeing all the things that this Pokemon community ends up cooking up for these raid builds and for VGC. You got some crazy ideas and they're really cool to watch, so definitely let me know. And again, if you like this kind of a content from me, make sure you hit that like, that subscribe, and that notification bell so you get notified when I drop more videos just like this one. Again, thank you all so much for coming out to the YouTube video. I hope you have a fantastic time out in the Paldea region and Kitakami. And until next time, trainers, peace out.